and welcome back to the Sarah Grace Cookie Co. Kitchen. Today I'm here at the dining room table with my coffee because I'm giving you my best tips for starting out as a cookie decorator. As a cookie decorator, as a cookie decorating teacher slash coach, I've gotten to talk with a lot of people as they've started out on their cookie decorating journey and adventure. And I want to share some of the mistakes that I tend to see people making when they're starting out. Now, cookie decorating is like anything else. When you're new, you have to get comfortable being a beginner. Things aren't going to be perfect when you're learning a new skill. But if I can save you some time that I lost making a mistake, if I can save you some time by telling you about something I see people doing frequently, then I absolutely want to do that. If we haven't met yet, I'm Sarah Grace. I teach people how to decorate beautiful royal icing sugar cookies and turn that skill into a business they can run from their home. To earn flexible income, be creative, and have a profitable, successful business, whatever that means to you. Something that I see new cookie decorators doing all too often is trying to learn every technique in royal icing cookie decorating all at once. And I hate to tell you guys, but it simply can't be done. I tried to do it too. But there are so many different decorating techniques when it comes to royal icing that it's impossible to learn them all at one time. The approach that I find best is to take a systematic, sequential approach so that you have a little bit of like building blocks when it comes to royal icing techniques. So if you think about building a house, you're going to finish the foundation first before you add anything on top of that. If you tried to come in and pour the foundation after you've already framed up the whole house, it would be very difficult. So it's so much easier to go on and focus on those basic things. They're kind of like, they may seem boring at the time, but if you focus on those basic, simple things like consistency, piping, getting the right tools, you make sure that you have those parts of your cookie decorating practice solidly in place before you try to implement any of the more advanced techniques like writing, flowers, painting, things like that, then it's going to make it easier when you do move on to those skills so that you can really make the most of your time in cookie decorating and have less frustration, because I know I tried to skip to some more advanced techniques and I ended up getting frustrated because things weren't working like I wanted them to. They weren't working consistently. Like one day I'd have a beautiful decorated cookie that I was proud of, and the next day it was like I'd have one that just fell apart. It was like it all went to pot. So it's so much more helpful if you have that systematic approach. And I do have a program called the Cookie Classroom that walks you through a systematic approach from consistency to wet on wet. It gives you a guide of what techniques to practice and when, and I have individual cookie decorating workshops that focus on each technique. A wet on wet workshop, a royal icing transfer workshop, florals workshop, watercolor workshop. There's lots of different techniques and it walks you through each one in a focused way. So if you're interested in that, drop me a cookie emoji in the comments and I will reach out to you to see if we think that might be a good fit. Now, this can be as simple as just starting out with consistency. You can take my consistency confidence class all about how to make royal icing, how to mix it to the right consistency, and how to pipe it onto your cookie absolutely free. And I'll put that in the description below. The second mistake that I often see people make is looking at a cookie design that they found on Pinterest or Instagram or somewhere and attempting to replicate that design when they're first starting out. That is a recipe for getting discouraged, y'all. These designs are made up of multiple different royal icing techniques. So, for example, this pumpkin cookie that's a little bit busted on the side. This pumpkin cookie that I made in another video incorporates wet on wet design because I've used multiple different colors. It incorporates piping with florals and as well as luster dust. So I've painted on with luster dust as well. So that's 3 different techniques on one cookie. So if you're trying to learn wet on wet, floral, and luster dust all at the same time, that's going to become overwhelming quickly. I would suggest starting with some wet on wet design, and then maybe on your next practice set, build up to some wet on wet and add a floral on it. And then maybe on the next set, then start adding luster dust. We have workshops on all those techniques inside the cookie classroom as well. But when you focus on a specific technique and making cookies with that technique, then you can work up to creating your own designs, replicating other designs or being inspired by them. That allows you to have that focus and that freedom to not put so much pressure on yourself getting started. You do not have to learn it all at once. The third tip I have for you is to not go whole hog when it comes to buying materials and supplies. Now, I love a good Etsy cookie cutter haul as much as the next girl, but let me tell you, I tend to take up a hobby or take up a new activity, and I want to buy everything involved in that right away. For example, we started a garden this year, and when we started planning our garden, I was like, I want raised beds here, and we're gonna do an irrigation system here, and I'm gonna have like this whole big arched trellis of green beans growing. Like, I don't even like green beans, but you know, I wanted the whole hog Instagram garden right off the bat. And that's just not realistic. We ended up starting much simpler than that, and it made life a lot easier because I don't think we could have handled going right for that huge scale garden right off the bat. Similarly, in cookie decorating, people decide they want to start decorating cookies. So they order an airbrush, a projector, like 100 cookie cutters, and just really invest and go full into this new hobby, when in reality all you have to get started on the path is like a scribe, maybe a cookie turntable, and all your ingredients. Then you can slowly work up to investing in some more tools and materials as you go. There is no shame, there is nothing wrong with starting small and growing. That's why in the cookie classroom I've included a supply list with links to all the materials I use and none of the ones that I don't in each workshop. That way, whatever stage you're at, you can buy the materials that make sense for that stage, rather than the materials that are way up here in this advanced stage that you might not necessarily need or want yet. Number 4 is avoid overcomplicating. When I first started cookie decorating, I wanted to watch all the YouTubers all the time. I would spend my whole day as the kids were playing in the floor, as I was making dinner, I would flip back and forth between Julia Usher, My Little Bakery, Sweet M's, y'all know, all the greats, and I would watch all their videos, and I would feel so much pressure to try all those different designs at once. Or I would watch 2 or 3 different perspectives of how to do something, like how to pipe. You know, one cookie decorator might use metal piping tips, one might use tipless piping bags, one uses another method. And I had all these different methods swirling in my head, and it became very confusing. So I think it's better to choose one way of doing things, try it, see how you like it, and then move on, instead of kind of clouding your brain and your mind with all the different ideas. There's no harm in trying to learn new things, but you can listen to enough voices that it gets a little too loud. That's part of why I created the cookie classroom. I wanted people to be able to make use of their limited practice time. A lot of people were telling me, you know, I just really want to try this. I want to get good at cookie decorating. I want to make this my hobby or my business, but I don't have time to sit down and practice, or I don't have time to actually do the thing, or I have very limited time. And so it's important to make sure that you're making great use of that limited time that you have, and that you have quality practice materials, quality instructional materials to help you make use of that time. If I can leave you with one thought this week, it's this: Cookie decorating is a skill like any other, and when you get started, it may be a little hairy, it may be a little frustrating. Don't give up, keep trucking, keep trying, and count those fail moments just as practice. They're just practice. It's helping you move forward. It's not a failure, it's a practice session. And when in doubt, when you mess up, when you have a bump in your cookie, when you have icing that didn't flood right, you know what? That's a taste testing cookie, and that is a-okay. We all need some taste testing cookies anyway. Something to snack on, right? I hope you have a great rest of your day. Come join us in the Cookie Confidence Facebook group. We talk all things cookies. We have live videos and events, and every week there's an opportunity to share your beautiful bakes in the Friday photo op. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you week after next.